All right, we want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I'm going to try to introduce you to what I think is going to be exceptional business opportunity. So to give you a little background on who we are, we're Derrick Automotive, nation's first minority-owned electric vehicle maker. And so we make a series of cars so far. You see we have here our new Avani SUV. And in addition to making new cars, this MG here represents one of our newest endeavors where we're actually converting old school cars to electric drive, right? So we're already in that auto space. Now, from my background, I've actually been in the temporary staffing business and the concierge business for more than 45 years, right? So the business that we're going to introduce you to here actually marries my two backgrounds together. So this is a business that's a service industry, and we're going to be using our electric vehicles to provide the service. So hopefully that gives you the context of what the business is about and what we're doing, right? So we're actually doing two things. So this division is called Exeeder Fleet, and our service division we're calling Exeeder LUX. So what Exeeder LUX does is basically we partner with property developers to provide different types of concierge services, but this is going to be basically errand services and delivery services. So we're also in the electric truck business, so we actually manufacture this truck. So we manufacture the product, and then we'll also be using our own product in our services. Right, so this happens to be a low-speed electric truck. So why are we doing a low-speed truck? Number one, there's not one in the United States market, not a single one. So it allows us to be first, right? So a low-speed vehicle, it doesn't draw as much power because it doesn't do more than 50 miles an hour, right? So when you're making deliveries and running errands throughout the city, you're not trying to speed. What you really want is an electric truck that's going to last all day. And basically that's what we've designed. So a truck that does 50 miles that'll last all day is more than enough to run to the big box store, to run to the Home Depot, to pick up food and groceries and that kind of thing like that, to do services for people. So we've designed first. Now we do have this truck in a high-speed model at a higher price. But for this service, we're focusing on the low-speed electric truck. Right now, the truck is pure electric. And so the basic range is about 125 to 150 miles of operation before we have to charge it again. We do have a fast charger on it. So we can recharge this truck in about 20 minutes, which means that a service can continue to move quickly throughout the day. And this truck is priced at $23,000. So this is also one of the first electric vehicles in the country priced below $25,000, which is a benchmark that the government's been trying to reach. So we're proud that we're going to be the first company to introduce a usable electric vehicle at a price point below $25,000. Now, if you look around our showroom, you'll also see that we also make bikes. And so we make electric bikes, and there are cases where, bikes could be handy for picking up food, smaller items, things like that. So we'll have a fleet that includes both bikes and trucks. But of course, the truck is special. You just can do more with a pickup truck than you can do with almost any other device. So the business model for Exeeder Fleet is relatively straightforward. We sell trucks, we put those trucks into operation, and we fulfill requests from people who live in communities that we serve. Now, we've already built a mobile app for this. Exeeder has a division called Exeeder Logistics. So we're already a logistics company, and we're already a federal freight broker. So we have a freight broker's license, and so we actually built an app for that business already. So we already have an app that's global in its scope. It works anywhere in the world. And so all we're basically doing is going to be adding these concierge services to the app that we already have built. So our app is patent pending. This app means that we can launch this service anywhere on the planet. Right now, the business that we're going into, the courier, errand service, delivery business, this is a $342 billion industry already. So we're not creating anything new. What we're doing is we're going to shift that industry from fuel-based to electric, right? And then we'll be the first company to do so. And we have a huge market to go after. So what we do is, like I said, instead of like an Uber, where people from all over the city would just call into a service, that's okay. But what special about our business is we partner with developers. We partner with hospitals. We partner with distribution centers. And so our trucks are basically assigned to a community. And there are lots of communities. In the A and B class, you have more than 40 million of these units all over the country. So it's a huge market. And then so what we do, this is a prime example of what we do. So we look at what we call a community as a client. When you work with high-rise buildings like this building right here probably has more than 1,000 units. So basically we have 1,000 customers at one location. So a building like this could easily support 3 or 4 trucks running errands, because we work with the property management, and we just let the residents know, oh, we're going to the big box store. Do you need anything? If people are picking up plants or ice or cases of beer for their party or whatever, we have a pickup truck, which is different than an electric car. If you want to pick up, there are certain things that make a pickup truck special. I give the example of, you take 4 of these chairs, which is not unlike the chairs that I have here. Tell me how you would move 4 of these chairs 2 miles without using gas. They're too big for a bike. It's too far to walk. What do you use? Right now, most people would go to the Home Depot and rent a truck, or they would go to U-Haul and rent a van. And all of those alternatives are going to be gas-based. So like Tesla was first to bring electric cars, whenever you are first into a market, then you have unique opportunities to really accelerate in that market. So we want to be the first company that has a practical alternative to moving goods on an electric drivetrain. And as we complete our Proteus technology, we're going to have electric vehicles that go further than anything else in the market. So even as people, let's say, go out and buy a Ford F-150 and put it into the market, it's not going to go as far. So people are going to really be looking at, this is a utility vehicle. How long can I go before I have to charge it? And our product is going to be the vehicle that's going to go further. So more than 83% of all deliveries are too big for a bike. Somebody's at the door, Steve. I don't know if they're part of this meeting or not. Are too big for a bike. And so they're moved on a gas powertrain. Again, most of the bikes in the market right now also use gas. So even the bikes use gas. And of course, you have the noise from the bikes, you have the fumes, and that type of thing. So even bikes, we have an electric version of bikes to even handle that. So when you look at the use cases, like I said, a pickup truck, and we did a pickup truck because a pickup truck is unique. If I want to go to a plant store to pick up plants, I'm not going to be able to effectively do that with a Tesla or any other type of electric vehicle, right? So it's just not going to work. So actually, picking up plants, I can't do with a car. I'm going to be better off with a truck of some type. If you live in an apartment complex and you go to a flea market and you find a couch, how do you move that couch from that flea market back to your apartment without using gas? Right now, there is no solution. So actually, we are coming up with the solution. We're going to move all these types of services from carbon footprint to no carbon footprint. Same thing. If you're doing an event or catering or whatever, and you have to move goods from one place to another, right now, 100%, that's done with gas. Anything over 50 pounds, if you have to pick up 20, 30 pounds of dog food, it just doesn't matter. If a hospital, if you have a contract with a Grady or something like that, right now, if they need to go and pick up some wheelchairs, they cannot do that on an electric drivetrain. So as we approach corporations and explain to them that everybody has a mandate to go green, and when you point out to them the amount of carbon that they're producing just running errands, running blood samples over to the lab, whatever everybody is doing. Right now, they're doing it on a gas powertrain, and we're going to give them the ability and capability to do that on an electric drivetrain. So this is timely because no one else is in this space. And when you look at the types of use cases and the types of businesses that can use this service, then you're going to see it's just about every business out there. You know, most repair shops don't stock tires. You know, if you come in and you want 4 tires, they get on the phone and they call the distributor, and the distributor runs 2 or 4 tires or whatever you need over to that shop to put them on your car. Those tires are bought on a gas powertrain. So the delivery industry is producing a huge amount of carbon in an era when the government is asking everyone to reduce their carbon footprint. So corporations are very attuned to this. They're going to be responsive when they learn that they have an alternative to do what they're doing already. No greater cost, but simply just do it on an electric drivetrain. And so we're going to be the first company with the tools to help them do that. The examples could just go on and on. Like I said, I've been in the temporary staffing business for more than 45 years. And when you work at senior citizens' homes and things like that, if you get an elderly couple that you do services for, they literally call you every single day for every single thing. Because people really don't, if you're not in the business, then maybe you don't understand how people live. I mean, in my staffing service, I had girls full-time. Their full-time job was literally helping people who live in elderly care homes go to either organize or clean out their storage bins. You know, when you downsize that house, that's a lot of activity. Some things get sold, some things the kids take, a lot of things get dumped into storage. Those things, when they go to storage, they're going on a gas drivetrain, but we can make that electric. See what I mean? And as they want to go back and forth to move things and take furniture back and forth to their new room and that type of thing, right now, all these services are being done on a gas powertrain, and we're going to have the tool, an electric pickup truck that will do this job effectively and do it without producing carbon. So what is going to differentiate our service is we have a concept that we call community as a client. So we're not after one client at a time. We're after hundreds of clients at a time. And so if you own a truck and you put a truck or a couple of trucks at an apartment complex that has, like I just showed you, that has 1,000 units, that truck's just busy all day. That truck's busy all day. I've been in this business. I used to use Chrysler 300s. And I had Chrysler 300s at all of my client properties. And literally, I used to treat my Chrysler 300s like a truck because, you know, people want things that cars are not designed for usually. If it's just to go to the store to get some groceries, they can do that themselves. But when people have something to move or they need lots of ice for a party or cases of wine or cases of beer, I used to treat my 300s like a truck. And so when I thought about doing this business again, I was excited to make a pickup truck because I know that in that business, if I had had a pickup truck, it would have been even more effective. So another thing that we're going to do that we're going to bring to this is we're going to bring a concierge experience to this whole delivery space. It was one of the things that made my business special, my concierge service. My people were well-dressed, well-trained, you know, very courteous, in a market where you don't really have that anymore. Anybody who's been to any store lately, and you look at the reception that you get from the people behind the counter, outside of a Four Seasons or something like that, you know, service is gone. We're going to bring the service back. And since we partner with developers, it actually works to our benefit. Because if you own 50 trucks, one of your first issues is where you're going to park them. So you get the additional expense of having to have a yard and things like that. But when you partner with developers, the developers are very happy that you stage the equipment that's going to be used by their tenants on their property. And we usually do that for free. So this is another like little quirk in the business that works like very well for anybody who's in the logistics business, because if you own a truck, because we're in the logistics business, where to park your equipment is a big problem. So these partnerships, everything that we do with this business is by design. So even the way we partner with developers, it's all by design. It all is meant to provide better service and to reduce our costs. And of course, we have a truck, not just a car. All right? So how do people work with us? There's a couple of ways that you can work with us, and this is the way we're going to be developing the business. right? So we have a service that's based on a truck, even though we do use bikes, but you have a basic truck. There's two ways to operate, to be a truck operator. You could buy a truck from us or bring another electric truck. On our app, you have to have an electric vehicle. So we're going to be a 100% electric errand and delivery service. So then it comes down to price. We have a truck that's priced less than $25,000. One of the slides, I'll show you what the other trucks that are electric that you could possibly buy are priced at. I can certainly tell you, none are below $25,000. So if you bring your truck to our app, it works much like Uber. You're going to register that truck in our app, and that app is going to give you jobs that are requested from our clients, and then you're going to earn 70% of the revenue that's produced. Now, if you're an employee, that means we own the truck, and you just work in the truck, and so we're going to pay you 50% of the revenue with the target. Derrick Automotive is like dedicated to being a high-wage employer. So we have $30 as a base pay. So we're going to make sure that anybody who drives for us is making $30 an hour, right? Okay, so these are the guys who are operating the truck. There's a position with us and an opportunity with us to also finance the truck that other people drive. So not everybody who is looking for opportunity actually wants to go to work every day. So actually, you can buy a truck and we'll lease that truck back from you. And the truck sells for $23,299, and we'll actually lease that truck back for you and pay you back $54,000 over 36 months or less, and probably less, because you'll see how much money these trucks make, right? So our opportunity to triple your money probably in less than 24 months is one opportunity you have with us. And of course, the truck is your collateral. So you own that truck. If we don't operate it correctly, you take your truck back, and you can do it yourself. But believe me, I've been in this business for 45 years. We know how to operate the business. And then, as I said earlier, we partner with developers. And so the recruitment of developers, hospitals, distribution centers, anyone who's moving a lot of goods right now, but doing it on a gas drivetrain, we want to reach out to these people and offer them the opportunity to reduce their carbon footprint, hit their government mandates by going electric, right? Using our service, right? So the person who brings these clients in, whether they be building, we have 5% commission built in for them. Now, if you're already a leasing agent, already working at a property, I mean, that's just found money for you, because all you have to do is just send out an email to all your residents, and a lot of money is there. And then we have people who actually are partnering with us to actually run an office with us. In other words, like you would have the office for Atlanta or Macon or Savannah or Charleston. And so you would partner with us to run an entire city. And so in that case, you could own trucks yourself. Other people who are leasing trucks could give you trucks to operate. And then so that's the way we built that system. So you got trucks. What does a truck make? How does this business work? So the business works like this. So I can tell you, I've been doing this for 45 years. And people used to ask me how come I didn't get into the Uber business. And I explained to people then that Uber could never compete with me. So we weren't as big as Uber, but in the buildings that I control, Uber didn't get very much business. Because the business works like this. When you partner with a community, then we sign up this building, we throw a party, we invite the residents down, we introduce them to their new staff. So this guy, so you know them. The trucks are parked outside. So Fred is here with this equipment to run errands for you, to pick up trucks, to pick up ice, to do all the things that you need. So the people in the building actually know our provider. You see, and so at that time, I had a black car service, the Chrysler 300s. So people would say, well, how do you compete with Uber? If you're out drinking, there's a lady here. If you're out drinking at night or you with your friends, and it's 12:30, would you rather call an Uber or would you rather call the driver who's assigned to your building? You're just going to, because you know him already. You're not going to call Uber, you're going to call Tyrone. Tyrone's at your building every day. Your management knows him. He's been introduced to you. His cars are always clean. He's always professional. And that's just going to go across the board. You're not going to call a random stranger when you have a service provider that's already been presented to you, right? So the business is easy to get. There's no problem getting the business. So in this scenario, and the reason I didn't want to do Uber also is there's more money in moving goods than in moving people. We had a meeting here last week, and I had somebody pull their phone out and just do a test of how much would it cost to go from this office to the closest Walmart. And I think it was what, $10.20. So it's $10.20 if you're in the Uber business. The Uber driver would get 60% of that. But in my business, if I went to that same Walmart to pick up this TV for you, it's not going to fit in your car. You cannot move this TV right now without using gas. It's too big. And it's not going to fit in your Tesla. It's too big. If you want to use an electric van, then you have to go and pay Rivian $114,000 because they have about the only electric van, and it's underperforming. So the device that we have is the right device in the right business at the right time, and for that same trip that Uber would have paid $10.20, I would charge to go get this TV about $120. So you see, it's a fundamentally different business. If I go to the big box store to pick up a bunch of plants for you, that's not $10.20. That's going to be $70, $80, $90, $100. You see, and we're just doing that all day long. Now, in this example, a guy who's doing that is only doing he's doing 3 jobs an hour. So he's hustling. But see, here's why 3 jobs an hour is easy. When you're working with these high-rise buildings and these gated communities and the way we've designed the business, when you go to the big box store, you're not going for one client. You know, management sends out a thing, Exeeder is going to the big box store, does anybody need anything? Out of a building of 1,000 people, you're going to get 5, 6, or 7 people who want you to bring something back. So actually, in that one load, you could have 8, 9, 10 jobs. I mean, I literally used to treat my Chrysler 300 like they were a pickup truck. I mean, sometimes the truck would be so heavy, because some people you're picking up water, some people you're picking up cases of beer. You know, they want you to pick up the big things. You know, and some days we were doing dry cleaning. It's just insane. It's just an insane amount of business tied to these communities. So in this example, 3 jobs at $70, 8 hours a day, you're making that one truck is making $1,600 a day. That's $42,000 a month, right? And this is how the money would break out. The guy who's in the truck, he would make $29,000 if he ran this type of operation. That salesperson who brought that business in would make $2,100 that month on that one truck. If she had 10 trucks, she'd make $21,000. Exeeder and our local partner would have made $10,000 on that truck. And of course, if we had a leasing partner, then we would pay the leasing partner his $1,500 for financing that truck until he got his $54,000. See? Now, let's just say people don't work that hard. Realistic, 2 jobs an hour. So half an hour each job, assuming you only get 1 order out of a hospital like Grady, which just doesn't happen. But let's just say you did. And we dropped the price to just $50 a job. In 8 hours, you're still making $800 a day with that truck. It's $20,000 a month if you work 25 days. That driver is making more money or as much money as a guy with a tractor trailer, but doing easier work because we don't do anything over 50 or 60 pounds. We have a logistics app. So if it gets big, we just farm it out to somebody who's in the moving business or something like that. So ExeederLUX is a pretty business. It's people who are dressed up, not looking like water boys. I mean, you jackets, you're looking pretty much like me, you know, but you might lift a bag of dog food. So it's almost like a hotel worker providing services with an electric truck. That salesperson would have made $1,000. The company would have made $15,000. And of course, we would have paid our lease fee. Let's look at the worst case. Let's assume we have like very, very, very lazy workers. Everybody's bad. Truck only does 1 thing per hour. So you're sitting outside of a high-rise building with 200 apartments. Now let's just say nobody wants anything. And you're just doing 1 thing an hour. And you did that for 25 days. You're still making $400 a day. that driver would still make $7,000. The salesperson would still make $500. The company would make $2,500. We'd make $4,500 if it was an employee in that truck, because employees only get 50% until they get their $30 an hour. And so we would make more, and of course, we would make the lease payment to our partner if we didn't own the truck ourselves. So if you see how it's structured, we have lots of ways to participate. So this is basically an investor. This is a guy who actually wants to do work. This is somebody who's already in real estate sales or something like that, who already has relationships with developers or already has relationships with hospitals or distribution centers or something like that. So we would just look for people who are already in those spaces and then ask them to partner with us. There's really not a company that's not trying to reduce its carbon footprint right now. I mean, if you call Delta and say the things that you're doing on your tarmac with the gas truck, we can match that performance with an electric truck, they're probably going to be interested. Every college campus, their repairmen and the guys who do maintenance on the college campus, those trucks don't leave the campus. A lot of guys use golf carts. You know, they have little beds. So a pickup truck that's electric does the same work, except you have more capacity. I specifically made the truck 4 doors, so you have a back seat. So even if you're doing little things around the city, you know, 4 people can get into that truck. That's why I made it 4 instead of 2. And so, again, it's just the right thing at the right time. The money speaks for itself. And so we're going to be trying to roll this system out into, you know, first 10 cities. Black is where we already have partners that we're talking to. Of course, in a place like Atlanta, we could have more than one partner. Macon is probably one partner. It's a small town. Tampa, you know, some of these cities are so big that that side of town has nothing to do with that side of town. And a truck, to tell you the truth, in the average apartment building, you're really going to need 2 trucks per building anyway. Trucks get overwhelmed pretty quickly. I mean, if you're not in the business, you might not think so, but I'm just telling you, I've been in the concierge business for like 40 years. Workers get overwhelmed pretty quick. Once people get the habit of not having to do what they normally do, they use the service a lot. And one of the biggest things that we used to do, and my service was in Philadelphia, one of the biggest things that we used to do, like on the weekends, is like we used to have law firms as clients. Everybody's going to the shore. So when you get to the shore, I'd have your ice there, your champagne there, your water there, flowers, all these things or whatever. Literally, we would go down to the shore looking like a military brigade with like 6 Chrysler 300s, all back to back, just loaded with stuff, to go and set up people's beach houses. So these are the types of services that, if you partner with us, that we teach you to go after and the work that you're going to be doing. So this is not heavy work. Like I said, this is customer service work. You know, it's pretty work. And so we're going to perfect our system in these cities first. And then just like Uber is global, we really see ExeederLUX being a global operation as well. This works anywhere in the world, wherever you have wealthy people who are used to, you know, concierge level services, then having this commodity, having this electric truck is going to be very welcomed, and it's going to be overused. You know, so, you know, with that, that's pretty much it. So what we're doing is, to date, like I said, Exeeder is a registered trademark. So, you know, our brands are protected. Our logistics app is already built. It's already working, but we've just been using it for freight and that type of thing. And now we're just going to add these lighter trucks and services to the app. So the app's already, you could go to the App Store right now and look up Exeeder, EXEEDER, and you'll see that the app is already in the App Store. It just happens to be geared for industry and not for services. Of course, the website's in place, the bank accounts, everything is already ready. We've already recruited some partners. We have a new technology partner, a company called Martin Technologies that, like I said, our truck right now is pure electric, but our Proteus generator, our company is actually known for a suite of technologies that are actually going to make electric cars self-charging as you use them. So what you see here is a wheel motor, a generator that's now not much bigger than this laptop. And so these things are added to an electric car, and the engine converts gas to electricity when needed. But the wheel motors put power back into the battery. And then what we don't have here is we have these shock absorbers that also capture energy and feed it back into the batteries. So our goal is to have electric trucks that go further. Our hashtag is go further. So same powertrain. The only thing bad about an electric car is that you have to stop to charge it. If you didn't have to stop to charge them, they'd be almost perfect. I mean, repairs are almost nil. There's really nothing to break. The batteries will last you 8 to 15 years. The way we operate the batteries with the self-charging, they should last even longer. With an electric car, you change tires and brakes, and your brakes last longer because whenever you take your foot off the gas of an electric car, the car automatically slows down. It's regenerative braking. And so even your brake pads last longer. I mean, basically, you change your windshield wipers. And we actually have an 8-year warranty on our truck because we don't want it to break. And so, to get jump started, if anybody who's interested, what you want to do is reserve a truck. We ask people to just reserve it with $250. Then we give you a day or so to get in and actually complete a purchase. If you purchase a truck, within 24 hours of one of these meetings, we drop the price by a couple of $1,000s. And so then you set up a meeting to decide, do you want to be a leaseor? Do you want to work in the truck? Do you want to be a city partner? So we explain to you all the different possibilities. Of course, we have all those agreements that you can give to your attorneys to review. So after you get some equipment and complete your agreements, then a big part of our business is that whole concierge piece of it. It really is what's going to separate our business from every other business out there, because I have a training method that actually works. And I'm in the car business. I tell people, my partners and I, we control the majority of this company. It's really done because I was in the temporary staffing business. The temporary staffing business makes a tremendous amount of money. I mean, a tremendous amount of money. And so this service is really just an extension of temporary staffing business. Temporary staffing, other people perform a function and you earn a percentage of their revenue. That's all we're doing with these trucks. So if we have 1,000 people operating 1,000 trucks, we're sharing in a good deal of the revenue of those 1,000 trucks. And just like Uber has hundreds of thousands of cars on the road, we can have hundreds of thousands of trucks providing services. There are 42 million just apartments in the United States. 42 million apartments. With about a third of those being Class A, Class B. And then you have hospitals and all the other types of businesses who could use a service like this. So that's what ExeederLUX is about. And, hopefully, you guys are happy that you came and that what I'm saying makes sense. Derek Automotive has been at this for, about 4 or 5 years now. People didn't think I would ever be able to get patents for my technology. We have 16. Certainly nobody thought I'd ever be able to build a car. This is my second generation. People think that converting gas cars to electric is impossible, and we've done there's usually a tow truck parked here. We've done that. This is easy. This is easy. What I'm really doing here is just marrying two of my skills together. My original skill is staffing and concierge, and now I'm in the car business. And really, my partners and I were just talking one day. I was just like, you know what? I've always regretted getting out of the staffing business because it's just so much money. I mean, my family runs it, but when I run it, it's different. So I just really wanted to get back into the staffing business, but I wasn't going to leave the new car business. So this kind of marries the two together. This marries the two together. So I get to make trucks, but I also get to operate those trucks. And I also get to train the people who operate those trucks and teach them how to provide a service to all of the Class A, B buildings in the world, to tell you the truth, but certainly starting here in the Southeast and in America, and then we'll take it from there. So with that said, I can answer any questions if anybody has any. I mean, usually I'm so thorough, there's no questions, right? No, I'm just joking, but.
For the market of truck drivers that are already committed to their source of income, how do they convert what they're doing?
Well, they would, I would think that they would want to I would think that they would want to use our sale and leaseback. So you're already driving your rig, so you could buy a truck for $23,000, and I'm going to give you back $54,000, and then I get to buy the truck from you for $1,000. So I'm going to get you out of that truck fast, because you know this is the way we're going to build our fleet. And why do I want to do that? I'm in the retrofit business. So when I take an old truck back, I'm not going to send it to Manheim. I'm going to send it over to here and have it retrofitted with whatever our latest technology is. So we kind of are building like a whole ecology around this thing. You see what I mean? But if you give me $23,000 and next year I give you back $54,000, number one, you're not upset. You just tripled your money in a year. And you're probably going to buy some more trucks.
So, with that being said,
Because that's a 25% annual return. That's basically what we're offering. So
it's going to be on every truck that you buy? Like, say I buy a truck now or 2 trucks now and you buy them back in 3 years. Am I still going to be able to get the same deal that I did when I bought the
yes,
truck?
our original guys will get the same deal. But of course, new people, the deal changes every day. The price has changed from last week to this week because my lawyer, you know what it is? It's so much money in this business. But like my lawyers are telling me, just because you make so much money, you can't be giving it all away. I mean, it's just a lot of money. People just have no idea how many services people will use if they are offered to them. They just will. People buy furniture every day. We can get accounts with IKEA. You know, anybody who's a business person who understands the corporate side, that's where the magic is. The magic really is in our ability to go out and set up the corporate accounts and then to train our workers to be more professional than every other service provider out there. When you do that, you never lose a client. Because I explain to developers, I mean, and it's not being rude or crude, it's just true. If I spend $500 million to build a building, I really don't want some guy walking through my building looking like a bum, especially going to see my tenants, if I have a choice. Right. So right now people think they don't have a choice because you can't say anything. So people think they're stuck with labor as it exists. You know, but we've proven that we know how to train labor, and actually, my real secret to the labor, I pay them more money than they've ever made. You know what I mean? People actually want people to do a lot of work for no money. Maybe it's because I'm a minority myself. I just know better. I'm just not going to get out of bed for no money. I'm not going to get out of bed for $10 an hour, or $11, or even $15. To me, a decent living starts around $25, $30 an hour. And so that's what we're designing our whole system for. If I find a kid who's making 12 bucks and I can take him to 30, he's probably going to come to my class and pay attention. He doesn't have to go back to school or do anything special. He just has to understand our training. You see what I mean? And my training course, even that's different. Like the first thing I do in my training course is I show a movie. It's usually Scent of a Woman. I don't know if you know the movie. Al Pacino is blind in that movie. You know, he's a blind Army veteran. Now, I just explained to a kid, if Al Pacino went down to that movie set and told the director that he's not feeling blind today, that he's going to keep it real, that he's going to do what he wants to do, he's probably not going to get that $20 million or whatever he made for that deal. So we just simply teach people what we do. It's a movie set. I really don't care who you are or how you dress when you leave, but this is a movie set. And I put a guy on a normal wage first, so he'd make $15. But the guys who show up ready to make the movie, what we call what showbiz can showbiz, if you show up for the movie set, then you make $30. I mean, so the belts might not be on the first day, but the belts are on the third day, or the fourth day, especially when the other guys are making 30 bucks and you're making 12 or 15, simply because you didn't show up for the stage. So just to give you just like an insight of how we train people. So people get it. And when they make more money than they've ever made before, they really have nowhere to go. It's hard to make $30 and then go back to making $14. So that's a good part. And then we also have a pretty effective visa program that we're going to be operating. So, you know, I know how to take care of the labor. We know how to bring in the developers and the people who want to use the service. and we know how to marry our equipment to those communities. And then and we've already built the app. This is where we are. This is we're a company that's already well on our way. This is just our latest division. It's going to be a huge moneymaker, and we just need partners. We just need partners.
So I guess if I'm a leasing partner, then the only thing I have to do is buy the truck and I back away.
That's it.
You take care of the maintenance.
Everything. Insurance, everything. So you're a lender. You're just like the bank.
Right.
So we're just doing this since we have a new truck, and banks are, I want to get a lot, like I said, we're very dedicated to being a high wage employer. So we're kind of like pairing this also with a workforce development program. So we really look forward to getting young kids and showing them how to make money.
Right.
So if they can't afford to buy a truck, so you bought the truck for them. We put them in that truck. So we're helping people in our community make a lot of money. And also, you're tripling your money. You see, the only way to make more money than being a leasing partner is to partner with us as a city partner. So that's an investment that starts at like $100,000, but then you own the business with us. You know what I mean? So you're probably going to make more. But anybody who has real estate, you're not making 25% return a year on your real estate, not usually. And anything except real estate, you're not even getting close. You're not getting it in the bank, you're not getting it from CDs. So a 25% return where you own the equipment, you basically own the relationship with the developer. It's kind of hard to lose money because a guy only has to do one thing an hour to pay for your truck. You know what I mean? If he does one thing an hour to pay for your truck, it's kind of like it's pretty low threshold. That's why, and like I said, I really understand this business so well. And that's a big part of why we're going to take off so fast, because we know where the business is. And so we're just going to go and do the exact same thing in multiple cities. And we believe that, after we do this for a bit, of course, the hedge funds are going to come in. Once they see us paying you 25%, a year, I mean, the hedge funds are going to come running. So that's a part of our plan to be able to scale the business like globally.
And is there a minimum, say your drivers have a bad month, do y'all replace the driver? Say one of our drivers gets sick. Say I got 3 trucks, whatever, and one of my drivers gets sick.
That's why you want me to be in the temporary staffing business. That's not even on you. If the drivers don't show up, I owe you your $1,500.
Okay.
Yeah, I owe you your $1,500. That's just guaranteed. Yeah, unless I pay you more.
Unless you pay me more.
So that's a minimum. That's a minimum. Don't forget, once I give you $55,000, because the contract says we buy the truck from you for $1,000. So once I give you $55,000, the truck is mine.
So you're looking at workforce innovation and self-sustaining.
Yes, ecosystem. Absolutely. And one workforce feeds my next workforce. Because now, as I get trucks coming back, they need to be redone, rebuilt, and the same guys who know how to do this will also be able to retrofit those trucks. And I'm also bringing the trucks in pieces, not as a whole truck. So we can teach people to build trucks on the front end. So all of my businesses are working together. So I'm building an electric truck. I'm going to assemble it here in Georgia. You see, so they'll build that truck, and then we'll sell it to you, and then we'll put it to use. And it's just a nice ecosystem of high wage employment. Right. You see what I mean? It's like we have people who work hard every day. They just don't know how to make money. You see what I mean? So if we provide the superstructure, we bring in the client, and all they have to do is do their part, which is look appropriate, act appropriate, and like you say, show up and be on time. You see what I mean? And because I know what you're saying, it sounds like you're in the business already. I'm running an immigrant visa program. I'm running an immigrant visa program. It's how I built my staffing agency in the first place. I think ethnics are a little bit different than Americans as far as work ethic and things like that. I know I'm saying that on camera, get myself in trouble, but we know the pitfalls. So we know the ups and downs. I don't really want to talk about it too much on camera, get myself in trouble, but yeah, we know how to develop and manage a workforce.
I think with all that said, though, you mitigate that risk.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. When you give people an opportunity to make real money, I'm telling you, the guys who work for me, you just come with me to Philadelphia one day and just like walk around, and you'll just see. When you help people make money, they just remember you. They're just happy to see you. And when you see them, they're not still single anymore. Now they're married. They got their kids back. I mean, yeah, you can't do all the things that people want you to do with $13 or $15. So I'm really trying to help our community make money.
It sounds like you're energizing, do a lot of work with a lot of politicians, and the messaging apparatus always goes back to how the middle class feels about their ability to ascend.
Yes,
And so this sounds like this answers
it does.
that.
Yeah, without having to go back and get an advanced degree or something, which we also can't afford sometimes. So all you have to do is learn professionalism, which is a shorter course. You know what I mean? And once people get it, they get it. And then we become the premier service. You know, there is no competition because somebody else is not going to put their people through training, and their people are going to walk into the building or the hospital, you know, looking like, you know, the kids on the street. And the kids on the street are doing that primarily because no one is leading them to a better outcome. I guarantee you, I would love somebody to bring me a couple of water boys and let me keep them for 6 weeks or whatever. They'll be making money and looking sharp.
That looks sharp. Next question. Do you guys already have any contracts in place in Atlanta?
No, but I've been in the staffing business for a long time, so I do have relationships with lots of developers. You know what I mean? It was in another city, but we consider that to be pretty low-hanging fruit. And plus, since we've been in Atlanta, we know a lot of people in the real estate game. So we don't see that as a big challenge. So, and actually, that's the kind of role that I hope the people who come to these meetings play. Help us bring in developers, help us finance trucks. You know what I mean? We have a whole community of people looking for opportunity to go from making $25,000 a year to making $80 or $90 or $100,000 a year. You see what I mean?
And my next question is, as far as like the financing options, if I wanted to say use my bank to finance how many of the trucks I got, or is it an alternative that you guys have?
Well, we're working on some alternatives now, but we don't have that in place yet. I mean, literally, yeah, we just started to put this together. We're out talking with financial institutions ourselves now. You know, when we get that, we'll put up a portal, and you could just, you know, put your information in there. So right now, a person would actually have to have their own cash or get their own loan. But that's something that we hope, you know, that we can help with over the next few months. Yeah, so right now, we need people with money. If a guy's just buying one truck, you know, we're going to have financing in place, you know, for that pretty soon. But most of the investor types that we're talking to, you know, they're buying 2 trucks, 3 trucks, 4 trucks. And because, you know, it gets to be comparable to a cheap piece of real estate. You know what I mean? If you went and got a $150,000 house in Atlanta, that's not very much house. And you're probably going to get $1,500 a month on it. The same money in one of these trucks. It's just going to give you 3 times the return. So, you know, we're just talking to professional investors, you know, people who invest on a regular basis, people who actually have money to manage. They're always looking for that high yield. And so that's why we're trying to do a study now of like the first 25 trucks. So people can know what I know, so they can see the real numbers from the operation of the trucks. There's just going to be an avalanche of people, because once you see how predictable these services are, then, I mean, who's not trying to get 25% a year return on their money?
Look at that. Go ask him some more.
No.
I think of something though. I'm always careful, like, I don't want to know as much as I can, because I'm very interested in getting, you know, a couple trucks at least. And I just want to know as much as I can about it, because, you know, a lot of times you have a vision in your mind.
Absolutely. But the reality on the ground, that's all business people, you know, and we know that. So like I said, that's why we say, you know, you have that comeback step because what you're saying is absolutely true. You know, you got to come back and get the details. So you know what I mean? So you got to come back when we're not talking to a group, you know, just to get your details. But you get a lot of the details out of the contracts. You see what I mean? So we're going to give you all the contracts. You give them to your lawyers. Your lawyer's going to help you think about this and that. Maybe he wants this much more insurance. Or, you know, you tweak all those things out, you know, and then you're ready to go. You know, but the great thing about this business is the truck only goes 50 miles an hour. So nobody's speeding with your truck. Nobody's speeding with your truck because you don't need a high-speed truck to do deliveries. You're around the city. And actually, electric cars work very well in the city. They're bad on the highway because you're fighting their wind resistance. You see what I mean? That's why electric cars, they like to ride behind trucks. So, you know, it gives you a draft. Driving around the city, you know, yeah, you get the maximum life out of a battery anyway. And then with our technology in the truck, it's just going to be the most user-friendly truck, simply because you're just not going to have to stop to charge, probably all day. You know, and that's the key.
Now, is this going to be saved on Facebook so we can go back and look at it? Or?
Steve's the technician, I think so. But I also have it on my camera. I have it on my camera as well, so I'll be able to send you this so you can listen. Yeah, and the part where I said something bad about somebody, we got to beep that out. Yeah, we have to beep that out. We have to beep that out. But the training piece really is, it's a very special piece. You really can't talk about it out loud because everybody's so sensitive, but we go about it in a special way. 85% of the people get it, and when they get it, they start making money and they kind of like stay with it. I mean, I think, I don't know who was born rich here, but I certainly wasn't. But most of us have probably been poor and then made some money, and we don't want to be poor again. You know what I mean? So whatever we did to learn how to make that money, we tend to stay with it. And I find that to be true in this business. You know, people have just never been cut in on the money. Yeah, we're all just looking to be cut in on the money. So, you know, this business is going to allow us to cut more people in on the money, and all they have to do is learn customer service. Right. So it's almost like you're getting hotel training, but you're going to make more money than if you worked at a hotel. And hotels are good clients, especially extended stay and corporate suites. These are people from out of town. They don't know. We know where the business is. I mean, I can just tell you. I mean, we'll be set up across the board. I mean, in the concierge business, you know, we had everything from baby seats to bassinet, because we know when somebody comes into town, a lot of them have children, and we just know what they need. We know this business. You see what I mean? And so we know how to stage people, where they need to be, what tools they need to have. And once people count on you, you know, trust is that magical thing in life, in a relationship, in a business. When people trust you and you maintain that trust, they're just not going anywhere. There is no competition for a trusted service provider. There is no competition, unless somebody else is as good as you. And it's hard to be as good as me, I can tell you. I'm not bragging, but I'm just telling you, it's hard to be as good as me. Yeah, that's the way we go at it. So that's it. Facebook fans, you can hit my phone too. Yeah, so hopefully you guys feel like you came down here for a good cause.